Hello, it's your boy Abdul Basit and welcome back to my channel F1 Racing Central aka FRC. First of all, I need to apologize to you guys that we were missing after Bahrain because we are university students and there was a lot of stuff that came up for us like mids our finals, and obviously I was a part of this team that was going through competition back in UK, so I was also uh, involved in that work, so we couldn't make any video. But today again I have with me the one and only Dawood Ahmed. How are you, Dawood?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I was busy with my summer semester at Lums, and now I'm finally free to make videos and vlogs about F1 and do all the talks.
Yeah, finally we are free and inshallah we will be uploading videos regularly. So uh, yeah, after quite a long gap, we are back, and for the championship standings, it's Max in the lead. Obviously, who can stop him? And for the rest of the grid, pretty close between Alonso, Perez, and Lewis Hamilton for the second position. But I guess Perez will hold to that P2 for the championship. But for today, we will be reviewing FP1 of Austrian GP, qualifying of Austrian GP, and sprint shootout and sprint race for Austrian GP. So with coming on to the FP1, it was Verstappen in the lead with the two Ferraris behind him, Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc in FP1. With the sprint weekend obviously brings a lot of the FP1 is the only session for the team, so the teams gather a lot of data from FP1, and they need to get the setup right. The tire window, the working window of the car should be on spot on. So I guess FP being the only practice session of the weekend, FP1 was quite involved. The teams were doing the sessions on hard tires, medium tires, and soft tires, taking all the race trims or simulation for the qualifying. That was yesterday. So coming on to qualifying, it was Verstappen, Leclerc, Sainz, the top three, with Leclerc Leclerc just behind Verstappen at 0.048 was the gap. So the qualifying was extremely good, and it showed how Leclerc was pushing through those few corners. The last two turns, turn 9 and turn 10, he was absolutely on the limit. And Carlos Sainz obviously being behind Leclerc 0.190 seconds, and then Lando Norris putting a brilliant P4 with that upgraded McLaren. Obviously Piastri didn't got those upgrade and got knocked out in Q1, but Lando Norris was right on top on the one of his favorite tracks. Obviously Austria has performed well over here, but that qualifying from Lando Norris was exceptional with that upgraded McLaren, and top Hamilton closed at top 5. Then Lancestroll called second time this year qualifying. Fernando Alonso was P7. Then we came with Esteban Ocon, then Alex Albon, and then Nico Hülkenberg for the top 10. It was really close in the qualifying, like 0.4 seconds separating the top 10. It was pretty close in qualifying with such a short track. It always is close in qualifying, and with those long straight, it always is close in qualifying. Coming on to the sprint shootout, I mean, it was chaos. There is no other word, due to that wet track, very small amount of dry line, and the wet track. Obviously, the sprint shootout was a bit tricky for the drivers. Obviously, they are just making it through. I mean, it was 1,000th of a second from getting knocked out in SQ1, and then the big shock was that Lewis Hamilton obviously got knocked out in SQ1, and then hydraulic issue followed for George Russell, who got knocked out in SQ2. Again, that was so close for the Ferraris in sprint shootout. Obviously, they were just on the cusp of getting knocked out in SQ1 or SQ2. Coming on to another thing that I will need to talk about is Sergio Perez, who got knocked out in the qualifying for the race in Q2 once again in this year. I mean, 4 races he hasn't qualified hasn't gone into Q3 since 4 races, and although in all those 4 races, Verstappen has taken taken the pole position. So it was they can tie it for Perez needs to up his game. So coming on to the sprint race today, so what a start for Nico Hülkenberg. I mean, he was right up there with Verstappen and Sergio Perez. He got a great launch and then was challenging Sergio Perez and next Verstappen. Obviously, Verstappen, the Red Bulls fighting with each other. Sergio Perez pushing Verstappen out in the second long straight, and then Verstappen retaking that lead and pushing Sergio Perez out of the track. So it was a close battle for the lap one. It was really close between the Bulls. What is your take on that? The battle between the Bulls and lap one.
Yeah, it was a good start to the race. Sergio Perez got a better start than Max Verstappen, and on turn one, Max Verstappen was closed by Sergio Perez, and then Sergio Perez gave room to Max Verstappen on turn three, where he utilized it. Sergio Perez went off tracks, plus Nico Hülkenberg took the advantage. He went off straight. He was on a good lead from Sergio Perez, and slowly, gradually, Sergio Perez claimed his lead, and then he was P2, and slowly Hülkenberg got to P6. I think he got P6.
Yeah, he got P6, definitely he got P6, but I think what the we have seen all over the season, those 9 races, that Haas obviously qualifies high up the grid and then they start to drop back. After a few laps, they start to drop back. But Haas is eating those tires. So I think the Haas obviously missed something over there, but strategy wise, because the track initially the track was wet and then it started to dry up, the rains stopped and it started to dry up, and then with obviously looking at Aston Martins that were obviously P5 and P6 in sprint shootout were catching up to that Haas, and then Haas couldn't do anything, as if they were at that position at the end, both Astons would have overtaken the Haas till the end of the race. So it was a good call by Haas.
Yeah, plus talking about McLaren, they're absolutely amazing on these kind of conditions, when it's wet and it's dry, it's getting wet, rainy season. McLaren is like really outstanding. If you look at Lando Norris, in the start he was at a standstill. At turn 2 he got to position 9, P9, P10, but then he was gradually he lost points. I think he was P9. George Russell got the points for last, but McLaren is absolutely amazing. Oscar Piastri did the best lap too in between on slicks, a 110 I believe.
Yeah, Oscar Piastri. Obviously, in these conditions, the strategy comes into play, and we saw with that Russell coming early into the pits, obviously starting P15 and P18 for Mercedes. Russell starting P15 due to that hydraulic issue. The Mercedes got the strategy spot on for Russell, and then Russell obviously overtook Lando Norris for that last point P8. So yeah, I mean, for me, like, I think McLaren missed the trick over here, not pitting the Lando Norris for that slick tires from intermediate to slicks. They didn't went for Lando Norris, and it didn't paid off. I mean, for McLaren, because they had the car underneath them in this race. In this weekend, they have the car underneath Norris with all those upgrades, and the side pods, the floor, the revised floor, revised side pod, revised front wing, rear wing, with all those upgrades. McLaren should be there fighting with at least the top 4 guys, or top 3, second to fourth.
Plus, the most amazing battle of this race was between Ocon, Leclerc, and then Lando Norris. They were fighting like it was a street race or something. Yeah, it was an amazing battle.
Yeah, that was an amazing battle. Obviously, Leclerc coming out to first from that battle. P12 it was for Leclerc at the end, but that battle was absolutely amazing to watch. I mean, Leclerc was trying to get ahead of Ocon defending it all the time, and then Norris also battling with Leclerc through those turn 6, turn 7 section, sector 3 to sector 2 to sector 3 boundaries. They were fighting like hell, these 3 guys, and Ocon obviously topping that fight, and Leclerc coming out to worst from that fight, because he started P9 due to his grid drop, but he's ended P12, which I guess wasn't fair for him, because when you have you are driving for Ferrari, and the car that SF23 is there about with the top four guys. I mean, you can say third or fourth fastest car, but it should be fighting with those Aston Martins and Mercedes, if not with Red Bull. Obviously, you can't challenge Red Bull, but the Ferrari should be fighting with those Astons or Mercedes, and Leclerc couldn't be there. He wasn't there today, so I think it was a bit tricky session for Leclerc. On the other hand, Sainz got that P3, so it's a mixed match feeling for Ferrari and Ferrari fans. Obviously, it's a mixed match feeling.
Plus, what was Bottas thinking starting of the race with mediums, while everyone else on the grid was on
Yeah, I
inters?
don't know it. As soon as that formation lap started to raining like 2-3 minutes ago again, and with the whole track wet, I don't get that what Alfa Romeo was trying to do over there with all the strategy. They pitted Bottas at the end of the formation lap, and Bottas was nowhere to be seen. So making two pit stops wasn't reasonable in this sprint. For obviously 24 laps, you can't make it up.
Plus, amazing strategy by Russell and Mercedes. Russell was the first person on the grid to pit for slick tires, and they showed off. They
Yeah,
proved
it was a pretty bold strategy from Mercedes today, because obviously when you are starting P18 and P15, you don't have anything to lose, because you are already further back the grid. But the strategy for Russell was spot on by Mercedes. Russell obviously coming on the radio and saying it's pretty much dry and we need, and then Mercedes in the next lap Mercedes boxed Russell and went into the soft tires, and he was fast on those tires, and everybody saw that if he had.
Plus, what a close ending by Ocon and Russell. Ocon was 9,000 of a second faster
Yeah,
than
just
Russell.
9,000.
Russell almost got a
Yeah,
P7.
obviously just 9,000 separating these two. It was like front wing to front wing. Because for a photo finish, you can say,
Yeah.
with Russell and Ocon. Great sprint race today, and I'm looking forward to the race tomorrow. It will be amazing race with obviously Ferraris being up there. But from here I need to talk.
Yeah.
I need to talk about Verstappen. He dominated this race. I mean, he was 21 seconds ahead of Perez. I mean, one time Perez was challenged for the lead, and then when Verstappen took that lead into turn 3, there was no stopping Verstappen. He was absolutely dominated the sprint race. These sort of conditions, I think, suit Max.
Yeah, he got a 21-second lead on Inters on a 24 lap race. It was amazing.
It was amazing. If I have to go with that, anything I have to go with that, I'm betting that tomorrow Verstappen will be, lapping half of the field. If not, at least he will be lapping 15 cars by the time we get to the checkered flag. It was a pretty amazing race by Verstappen.
Definitely, and it's gonna be an amazing race tomorrow, because the weather's gonna be all rainy and sort, and it's gonna be slicks. It's gonna be a good race to watch.
Will definitely be a good race to watch of tomorrow, and obviously I will be seeing that Perez fight back from P15. It will be great.
Yeah.
So for now, guys, we will head back to our lives and enjoy. Pray that we have a safe race tomorrow, and we get some exciting race tomorrow. And till then, bye. See you all.
Take care, guys. Bye bye.